everyone, welcome to today's video. I wanted to share with you my favorite bullet journaling supplies, so I hope you enjoy the video and let's get started. So I'll start off with my bullet journal itself. I'm currently using a B5 sized Archer and Olive dotted journal. This is the third year that I'm using a B5 sized Archer and Olive notebook as my bullet journal, so it's definitely a favorite of mine. These journals come with 160 pages. The pages are bright white and are 160 GSM, so they're nice and thick. In my experience, I find that the only markers that bleed through the pages are alcohol markers, so I try to stay away from those when it comes to bullet journaling. Otherwise, I've found that pretty much all my other pens, such as brush pens, gel pens, fountain pens, and markers, as well as watercolor and gouache paints, hold up very well on this paper, which I think is great. The only thing when using paint, however, is that it can warp the pages slightly, so just something to keep in mind. I also prefer journals like these where they have a hardcover with an elastic closure, as I do travel with my bullet journal and bring it to my office job in my backpack. So the thick cover helps to protect the pages when I have my laptop and other notebooks and folders in my backpack, and the elastic closure helps to keep everything secure. I also like to have a pen loop on my journals to keep a pen with me at all times in case I need to write something down quickly, which leads me to my second favorite supply, which is my Uniball Signo DX gel pen. So this is the Uniball Signo DX black gel pen in the 0.28mm size. I prefer to use this pen with my bullet journal for a few reasons. One being that I like to bring a capped pen with my bullet journal, since, like I mentioned, I do travel with my journal pretty often, and just something about having a capped pen feels a little more secure to me than a retractable one. I also prefer the 0.28mm size as it produces a thinner line, which is ideal when I'm filling in my boxes in my bullet journal, since I have to confine my writing in a much smaller space. Lastly, I think the quality of these pens are great. The inks are always consistent, they write smoothly, it's a nice opaque black, and they're affordable. I buy them in bulk about once a year since I go through them pretty fast. Before I continue with pens and writing utensils, another favorite product would have to be my Nomadic ink pencil case. I got this as a gift a couple years ago, and I believe since then these have unfortunately been discontinued. So I'm not going to be going through everything in this bag. I do have a full separate video on what's in my pencil bag that I'll link right here if you want to check it out, but I'm just going to be sharing items that I use consistently in my bullet journal. So the first item from my bag would be my mechanical pencil. This one's specifically from Papermate, I believe, and it uses 0.5mm lead. I use this every day to sketch out my daily doodles before I ink them in. I also use it to sketch out my spreads ahead of time so I don't end up messing them up with ink later. To ink in my doodles, I use my Sakura Pigma Micron in the 005 size. This produces a very thin size since my doodles are confined to a 5x5 square in my bullet journal. I'd also say that the majority of my Sakura Pigma Microns are some of my favorite products, specifically the numbered ones, since these are typically what I use to draw my spreads with after I sketch them out with pencil. I use the 01 or 02 to label my calendars, tabs, days of the weeks, and trackers, and I use the 03, 05, and 08 sizes to draw the boxes, so those are all must-haves. The last pen in my pencil bag that is a must-have product for me is the Uniball Signo white gel pen. Not only do I like using this for highlighting pieces of art, but it's also very handy if I just make a little mistake in my bullet journal and want to cover it up. Like if I accidentally wrote the wrong letter in a word, I can just use the gel pen to fix it quick. Another favorite product from my pencil bag would have to be my kneaded eraser. I love kneaded erasers because they don't leave eraser dust all over the place and they're much more gentle on the paper. So when I'm done inking in my doodles or done inking in my spreads, I take this and erase the visible pencil marks for a clean look. For larger mistakes in my bullet journal, I like using this correction tape runner. I don't remember what brand this is. I bought a pack from Amazon years ago and I'm still trying to make my way through them. But yeah, when I mess up the whole word or the entire sentence, this runner comes in handy. So those were all of my favorite bullet journaling supplies from my pencil bag, and These are by no means requirements for bullet journaling. If you're a beginner at bullet journaling and you're watching this, please don't feel obligated to get all these things in order to feel like you can then start bullet journaling. I'm just someone who has a stationery addiction and a problem. All you need in order to bullet journal is a journal or notebook and a writing utensil, so please don't feel bad. But with that being said, this next portion of the video will be about my favorite products to decorate my bullet journal with. First off being my watercolors. This is my St. Petersburg White Nights watercolor palette. I've had this for a few years now and I use it multiple times a month. These are full pans, so they are definitely going to last a very long time. I haven't tried too many watercolors in my life, but this one hands down has been my favorite so far. The pigmentation is very beautiful. The majority of these shades are light fast, meaning that the color won't fade when exposed to light over time. The consistencies of the shades are very smooth and easy to use, and I love the shade selection. If you've seen any of my monthly plan with me videos, you'll know that I use this palette to paint my cover paintings every month. Sometimes I'll even use these to create my weekly spreads instead of my Sakura Pigma Microns, so this is definitely a much loved product of mine. To use with my watercolors, I love these Pentel Aquash water brushes. They just make the process of painting go by so much faster since the water is already added into the brush, so it saves a lot of time. If I'm needing something quicker and convenient, I'll reach for my Tombow dual brush pens. They have a huge variety of colors to choose from, which is nice for when I'm needing a specific color palette. I like to use them to hand letter with for titles, or I'll use the bullet nib to outline boxes in my bullet journal. Next, I like to use stickers sometimes to decorate my monthly and doodle spreads. The majority of my stickers are from journalsay.com. Most of these came in color coordinated tiny booklets, but I made this sticker book using a binder, construction paper, palette paper, tape, and a hole puncher to put all my stickers in, instead of having a ton of tiny booklets around. I also organized it based on categories like food, foliage, sunsets, animals, etc. That way when I'm wanting to find stickers to match the theme I'm doing in my bullet journal, I can find them easily rather than having to flip through a bunch of little books. I also like to add washi tape to my bullet journal occasionally, again mainly on the monthly and doodle spreads. I keep most of my washi tapes in this case. If you'd like to see them all swatched out, I do have a separate video of that as well that I will link right here. Anyway, I like layering washi tapes and overlapping each other to bring more color and texture to my spreads sometimes. I'd say my favorite ones would have to be these script ones down here, the sheet music and the dictionary definitions, as well as these earthy vegetation and grid washi tapes. I also have 3 extra rolls of washi tape that I forgot to include in that video since I keep them separately as they're too big for that case. These are some craft paper washi rolls, also from journalsay.com, where one of them is blank and then one of them has the dot grid on it, and then one of them has this beautiful cursive script on it. Moving on, I have a little corner punch tool here from the brand Sunstar, and it's called the Kadomaru Pro 3-corner punch. So I use this to round off my pages in my bullet journal after I've cut out the tabs, which is very convenient. It has 3 different sizes that you can round off your corners to, but I typically use the large size. Last but not least is my HP Sprocket Bluetooth photo printer. I got this as a gift right around the time I first started bullet journaling, so it connects to your phone and you're able to print out 2x3-inch photo stickers, which I then paste into my journal every month. If you're curious about that process, I also have a full separate video, which I will link right here, but essentially it allows me to have a scrapbook element to my bullet journal by pasting in pictures and photographic memories after every month. Well, that does it for today's video. Let me know what your favorite bullet journal products are. I'd love to hear what you use. Do we share any of the same favorites? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.